go on down. This chamber pumps down, and it's going to go through this valve right here. Y'all see that? This is my tricuspid valve. That's the one on the right side of the heart. You see these little stringy things right here, the heart strings? Those strings are your chordae tendineae. Go on to this part of the heart, which have it as well. A lot bigger here. You can see here's the tricuspid valve, and the little heart strings are the chordae tendineae. In the ventricle, the muscles look a little bit different. As you can see here, here's a wall of the ventricle. The muscles don't look as nice as the pectinate muscles. They kind of look beefy, like ground beef, and that's what the word trabeculae carne means. Carne means beefy. So trabeculae means worm-like. So it looks like a bunch of worms, and it's lining the walls of your ventricle. So if they ask you the kind of muscles that line the walls of the ventricle, that is going to be your trabeculae carne. Another type of muscle that you're going to find is, you're going to find papillary muscles. And if you look right here on the heart, you see these bulbous muscles. They're usually attached to the chordae tendineae or to the valves. This little bulbous muscle is called a papillary muscle. So that's the third type of muscle that you need to know about. Pectinate muscle, trabeculae carne, and then this little long muscle right here, which is a papillary muscle. If I asked you what chamber of the heart are we in here, put a piece of tape, what chamber are we in now? This is the what ventricle? This is the right ventricle. Good. The right ventricle is going to contract, and it's going to go through this valve right here underneath the heart, which is called the pulmonary semilunar valve. That's going to lead up to the lungs. As it goes through the pulmonary semilunar valve, it's going to go into this structure, which is called the pulmonary trunk. The pulmonary trunk divides into a right and left pulmonary artery, and then these things become pulmonary arterioles, and they enter into the lungs. They become capillaries, oxygen is exchanged, they become venules, and then they turn into 4 pulmonary veins. So moving on from that, I'm going to take this off. I'll review this later. So here are 4 pulmonary veins. Please remember, everyone gets confused. Arteries are usually always carrying oxygen, as you know. However, in the heart, they do not carry oxygen. Arteries are always leaving the heart, right? And normally, they carry oxygen. But here in the heart, the pulmonary arteries do not have any oxygen because they haven't gotten any oxygen to them. Veins usually do not have oxygen because they're going back towards the heart. And here in the pulmonary veins here, that's why we call them pulmonary, they've gotten to the lungs. So these are the actual, one of the few cases in your body where your veins have oxygen in them. So please always remember that. Pulmonary artery and pulmonary veins are different colors in the heart. The pulmonary veins enter what chamber of the heart next? They're going to go into this chamber, which would be the what ventricle, what atrium. This is the what? This is the left atrium. What is this little flap over the left atrium called? The left, just like the right side. So here's your right auricle, here's your left auricle. This chamber of the heart is called the left atrium. That's going to contract, and it's going to enter through this valve right here. What valve is separating the left and right, the left atrium and ventricle? This is called the bicuspid valve. What are these stringy things called on the valve? Those are your chordae, what? Chordae tendineae. Good. What kind of muscles line the ventricle of the heart? We talked about that earlier. That's called the trabeculae carne. What is this big fat bulbous muscle called? That's a papillary muscle. Again, I can tag that. See that big bulbous muscle? That is a papillary muscle. The left ventricle contracts, and it's going to go through another valve. That's going to be this valve way up in here. That's the aortic semilunar valve. Once it goes through there, it's going to go through the ascending aorta, the arch of the aorta, the descending aorta, and it's going out to the rest of the body. That's all the basic anatomy of the heart. Any questions on that? Let's go ahead and review it one more time, and we'll do it on the smaller valve. All right. Ooh, did I say azygos? Is there an azygos vein on there?
I don't see one.
What's that?
I said I don't see
I
one.
don't see it on there. It must be on the map. Must be later on. All right. Well, right down there, just in case I forgot, on the bottom put